Thank you so much for attending my presentation about why Zamazenta is the perfect Pokemon, and first we need to talk about its traits. The Shield Dog has one of the best stat lines in the entire game, with monster defenses, a great speed of 128, and respectable attack. This combined with the fighting steel typing lets it hit almost everything for solid damage while having few real weaknesses. Plus, it gets a defense boost on switch in, making it almost impossible to take out fast on the physical side. But there is an immediate problem. Where's the insane damage? 120 attack isn't bad, but for a restricted legendary, it isn't dishing out that much punishment. Well, in Gen 8, this was precisely the problem. In theory, it was fine, but you didn't have ways to deal consistent damage on par with the rest of the VGC format. But in Gen 9, it got access to Body Press, a fighting type attack that uses your defense stat in place of your attack stat. All of a sudden, that automatic +1 defense boost doesn't look so cute anymore. This one ultra strong move turned it from one of the worst legendaries in the game to one of the best. But what exactly is it doing? Protect and Body Press are shoo-ins on its moveset, keeping it safe in dealing damage. It also runs Steel Stab as coverage, shoring up a Ghost-type problem even with uninvested moves. Both Heavy Slam and Behemoth Bash are viable, with the former dealing more damage to lighter foes like Landorus Incarnate, but falling off against heavier Pokemon. On the other hand, Behemoth Bash is a consistent 100 base power. While it is weaker against some important Pokemon, it's way more reliable, which is vital. And then, for its last move slot, Zamazenta almost always runs Wide Guard. This is one of the best supportive options in Pokemon, protecting you and your partner against spread moves. This lets Zamazenta function not just as a body press bot, but also as a real balanced threat. There's a ton of choice lock special attackers in this format. Scarf Landorus Sansir Storm, Scarf Chiyu Heatwave, Specs Miraidon Dazzling Gleam, Specs Torkoal Eruption, the list goes on. This one move almost forces them to lock into a different move which the Zamazenta player can exploit. Plus, it makes a ton of other vital matchups way better. The Calyrectus hate clicking their spread moves now, Kyogre is locked out of its stab options, expanding force threats does lose, the utility of Wide Guard really can't be understated. Plus, it gets to run alongside Shenpao, a Pokemon that lowers the defense of all other Pokemon on the field with its ability Sword of Ruin. This might seem counterintuitive with Body Press, which uses your defense stack, but in a confusing decision, Sword of Ruin doesn't actually affect that. Pao makes Zama a fucking bomb and is partnered with it very often. In Regulation G, a format that just ended, Zamazenta was one of the best restricted Pokemon in the game. This was a single restricted metagame, meaning you only get one of these restricted box legendaries. While that might not seem that great for Zama, an admittedly still boring looking Pokemon, it was able to shine. It's just too consistent, having a matchup into every relevant restricted while letting you get creative in the builder. Among possible teammates, Raging Bolt and the Moongus are valuable balance pieces, Pelipper stops fire type moves, you could double up with fighting types and Rocker Shifu, Ditto helps in the precarious Cali Shadow matchup, Rillaboom gives healing, even Latios has seen some plays in attacking Tailwind Setter. There's a lot to do with it, which has led to Zamazenta having very high usage. It was at its best near the beginning of the format, snagging a share of the most used restricted crown at the Birmingham Regionals. While usage has been waning with the rise of Koraidon and Calyrex Shadow's continued improvement, the dog was a consistent threat since the beginning. But the upcoming Regulation I is where everything changes. One of the complaints about Zamazenta in the last format was that it didn't really win sets on its own that often. Sure, Body Press is scary, and yes, Wide Guard is amazing, but a single target attacker that doesn't have a kill everything button like Miraidon or Koraidon will always suffer a bit. Dual Restricted, though, is a different story. All of a sudden, Zamazenta's role as a blanket amazing Pokemon on offense and defense holds a ton of weight. With so few mons being able to consistently handle a 1v1, it's a matchup monster and patches up a lot of problems. Plus, you still get to run a more flashy, busted offensive restricted. In fact, it's a massive part of the team that's dominating Reg I right now, Calyrex Shadow Zamazenta balance. There truly isn't a spot where this archetype struggles. CSR or Shifu Rapid, Rillaboom, and Zamazenta are super powerful offensive pieces that rip teams apart. Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Zamazenta hold the line on defense. Zamazenta and her Shifu Rapid destroy the dark types that Cali S hates. Rillaboom and Zamazenta are the main stopgap against Miraidon and spread moves respectively, both of which can be very dangerous for the team. You see the common trend here? So far in tournaments, Cali S Sama as a duo has done very well. In the VR April Challenge number 2, for example, the two had 5 of the top 16 placements and won the event. The next highest restricted duo had 2. And don't forget that it can also be run with other stuff, seeing usage alongside pretty much every good restricted. The age of the Shield Dog is finally here. In conclusion, Zamazenta doesn't have a fucking weakness. Sure, it loses to some Pokemon 1v1, but I'd be hard-pressed to find a more consistently valuable Pokemon in VGC. Keep an eye out for some high usage at the Milwaukee Regionals this weekend. It's gearing up for a monster tournament. Thank you so much for watching.